Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. Today we will explore CRUD operations on SharePoint list items using PnP PowerShell. So I will walk you through creating, updating and deleting and retrieving both the single and multiple SharePoint list items using PnP PowerShell. Before we start implementation, let's have a look at the SharePoint list. Here the SharePoint list name is employee leave request, which is having the columns like leave title. This is by default the title column, and leave type is a choice column, and it is having the choice values like sick leave, annual leave, compassionate leave, etc. And start date and end date at the date columns, and department also choice column having all the department names, and yes, half day is an yes or no column, and leave days is a number column, and here manager name is a single line of text column. Now we will see how to add a single item to this SharePoint list using PnP PowerShell. To run the PowerShell script, here I am using Visual Studio Code Editor, and the add PnP list item command in PnP PowerShell is used to create a SharePoint list item. And this command is taking the parameters like list and values. For the list parameter, we need to pass the SharePoint list name, and within the values parameter, we need to pass data for each column. As you can see, I am taking all the columns internal names, and you can pass values to this. In this way, we can provide the data for each column. Now let's run the code. Here you can see new item is added successfully with ID number 1. Now we will check the SharePoint list once. And here you can see the new item is added successfully. Next, I will show you how to retrieve SharePoint list item using PnP PowerShell. We need to use this get PnP list item command to retrieve the SharePoint list item. And here this command is taking the parameters like list and ID. See, whenever we are retrieving any particular item from the SharePoint list, that time for the ID parameter, we need to pass that particular item's ID. And for this list parameter, as you know, we need to provide the list name. Now let's run the code, and in the terminal pane, you can see it will retrieve that item. See, now it is retrieving that item. After retrieval, we will move on to updating the SharePoint list item using PnP PowerShell. Now we will see how to update SharePoint list item using PnP PowerShell. The set PnP list item command in PnP PowerShell is used to update a SharePoint list item using PnP PowerShell. The set PnP list item command in PnP PowerShell is used to update the SharePoint list item. And this command is taking the parameters like list identity and values. So for list name, for list we need to provide the list name, and for identity we need to provide identity, uh, the list items ID, and in the values parameter, within this values parameter, we need to take the column that we want to update, and we need to provide data to that column. Here I am updating for each column, so I took each column's internal name, and I am providing data for each column. Now we will run the code. Here you can see item ID 1 updated, and here it is showing only title, and it is displaying like update item updated successfully. Now we will check the SharePoint list once. Now you can see this item ID is updated successfully with the new values that I provided in the script. Finally, we will cover how to delete SharePoint list item using PnP PowerShell. The remove PnP list item command in PnP PowerShell is used to remove the SharePoint list item, and this command is taking the parameters like list identity and force. Here for the list we need to provide list name, and for identity we need to provide the list item ID, and here this force parameter is used. For example, if I didn't provide this force parameter means, then it will ask one confirmation like do you want to delete this item. So when I give this parameter, it will skip that asking that confirming message. Now let's run the code, and here you can see without asking anything, it will delete that SharePoint list item, and it will show one message like item ID 1 has been deleted successfully. Now let's check the SharePoint list once. See, the list item is deleted successfully, and even you can check in the recycle bin, it is not present. And if you go and check in the second recycle bin also, it is not there. So in this way, we can perform CRUD operations on SharePoint list items. Up to now, we have seen only CRUD operations on single items, right? Now I will explain how to do this CRUD operations on for multiple items at a time. First, we will start with adding multiple items to SharePoint list using PnP PowerShell. You no need to worry about the code. In the description box below, I am providing a link that contains this PnP PowerShell scripts. And here I am defining all the items within an array, and then by using this for each loop I am iterating over this array and fetching each item, and then with the help of this add pnp list item command I am adding this item to SharePoint list. So after adding all the items, it will display one message like items have been added successfully. Now let's run the code. In the terminal pane, you can see it is showing one by one the ID number for each item also it is displaying. So before I have already created one item, right? That is item, that item ID is one. So it will increment one by one, and it won't be start with one. Now we will check the SharePoint list. Here you can see it is added all the items. Let's see how to retrieve all these items using PnP PowerShell. As I said before, whenever we are retrieving all items from the SharePoint list, that time we no need to provide ID parameter for this get PnP list item command. Now we will run the script, and in the terminal pane you can see it will retrieve all the items with the ID number and title and GUID. Now we will see how to update multiple items at a time using PnP PowerShell. Here I'm going to update, for example, here I'm going to update only leave title for each item. Here you can see I am fetching all the item SharePoint list items using get PnP list item command, and I am storing in this items variable. After this one, I am using one if else condition. So if the no item is present in the list, that time it will display this no items found in this list message. If it contains items means then control comes here. In the else condition, I am using for each loop to iterate over this items array. And within this for each loop, I am creating one new variable, name is new title, that is storing this annual leave. With the help of the setPnP list item command, I am updating that each SharePoint list items title value as a new title, and here I am providing title because the leave title's internal name is title. After updating each item, it will display the message like updated item with the ID. It will display that item ID, and leave title as this one annual leave. It will display after updating each item. It will display all items have been updated successfully. Now let's run the code. In the terminal pane, you can see it will, after updating each item, it is displaying that message. Now it updated all the items. Let's check the SharePoint list once. Here you can see for each item's leave title is updated as a annual leave. Finally, we will see how to delete multiple SharePoint list items using PnP PowerShell. Here also you can see with the help of this get PnP list item command, I am fetching all the items into this items variable, and then I am checking is there items found or not. If it is not there means it will display this message. Otherwise control comes here and it will check, it will fetch each item from this items array. After fetching, we are using this remove PnP list item command. After deleting each item, it will display the message like deleted item with ID number. After deleting all the items, it will display this message. Now let's run the code, and in the terminal panel you can see that messages after deleting everything. So you can see it is deleting and displaying the message deleted item with a ID 2, 3, 4, 5. It deleted all the items. Now let's check the SharePoint list once. I'm refreshing the list. And here you can see it deleted all the items. In the recycle bin also you can see no item is present. We will also check in second stage recycle bin. Here also no items are present. So in this way, we can perform CRUD operations on SharePoint list items using PnP PowerShell. It will save lot of time. Thank you for watching this video and don't forget to subscribe our channel.